For all the meetings we have, we generally don't have many tech problems, so count our blessings. Okay, we are streaming. Chair Thompson, would you like to go ahead and proceed with the hearing, please?
I would love to thank you, everybody, for your patience while we got everything set up. I will call this public hearing to order at 9:10. Our item one is our FY 2026 to 2027 budget. The background, CCAT Budget Committee approved the FY 2026 to 2027 budget on March 9th, 2026. Furthermore, the legal notice of budget hearing was posted in the World newspaper on April 28th, 2026. There's one document. I'll make my first call for testimony. Do we have anybody here to give testimony on our budget? If you do, feel free to unmute yourself and go right ahead. This is second call.
Watch anybody or guess not?
This will be my second call for public testimony. And then we'll go last call for public testimony in the public hearing.
I have a question. Does this include providing transportation to Powers? Funded transportation?
I think let's
Hearing is for the public comment.
Okay, just want to make sure I consider myself public.
So the board will have opportunity to discuss the budget under that agenda item.
Okay, thank you.
I'll make one last call for members of the public to give a comment. Hearing and seeing nothing, I will close this we'll close this public hearing on the budget. Board, that is all for the public hearing. That moves us to item one, which is call to order. I will officially call this regular board meeting to order. Melissa, will you please take the roll?
Director Thompson.
Here.
Director Vesey.
Here.
Director Johnson.
Here.
Director Dovenspike.
Here.
Director Clausen.
Here.
Director Nelson.
Here.
Director Taylor.
Here.
All members of the board are present. For the advisory committee, Lauren Morris.
Here.
Cynthia Ramirez. Michael Babcock. Richard Rogers. Richard, I saw you.
Here.
There we go. Welcome, Richard. Karen Dubasar.
Here.
We also have with us today Dean Martin staff, Davis Schwartz, and Jennifer Boardman at ODOT, and Jane Stebbins, counsel, and myself, Melissa Metz, general manager. That's all for the roll call today.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Melissa. Board staff, do we have any changes to our agenda today? Hearing none, our agenda will stand. Item 4, board, is citizen comments on agenda items, limited to 3 minutes per person. Do we have anybody in the meeting for a public comment on an agenda item that is not the budget? And once, twice, 3 times, I'll close the comment section. Board, that moves us to item 5, our consent agenda. In that we have our April 13th and April 27th board meeting minutes, our financial sheet for March 2026, and our ridership report for March 2026. Or do I have a motion on the consent agenda?
I move to accept the consent agenda. I'll second her.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented. Is there any comments, discussion?
And that second was Shira, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
Any further discussion, comments, questions? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor of the consent agenda, then say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Abstentions, motion carries. Thank you. That brings us forward to item 7A, of old business solicitation 5310 update. Melissa, I'll pass it to you for that. Thank you.
Certainly. As part of the FTA 5310 program, officially known as the Enhanced Mobility of Seniors and Individuals with Disabilities, it plays a critical role in enhancing transportation options for older adults and individuals with disabilities by providing formula funds to states, which is subsequently allocated to qualified entities. Local organizations such as CCAT are mandated to issue solicitations for these funds, as they are designated to address specific transportation gaps where conventional transit services may fall short. This process ensures that local barriers are effectively addressed by inviting applications from organizations best suited to meet these needs, including counties, transit districts, city governments, and private nonprofits. On April 8th, the district publicly announced this opportunity, and as anticipated, CCAT emerged as the sole interested party willing to deliver services outlined in the Coordinated Human Services Transportation Plan, highlighting the district's ongoing commitment to improve mobility for vulnerable populations in the county. And just as a historical context, we haven't ever had anyone who has expressed interest in provisioning 5310. And in addition, with monies being so tight, I'm not sure that the district would be in a position to do a sub recipient at this time. That's all that I have regarding the update on 5310 solicitation.
Question? Would you like to also do B, solicitation for strategic planning?
Certainly. So on March 10th, the district announced a solicitation for proposals to engage qualified consultants tasked with developing a new strategic business plan aimed at enhancing transit services, diversifying funding sources, and modernizing business practices over the next 3 to 5 years. This comprehensive plan is intended to provide a roadmap for the board and leadership, guiding program management, development, external communications, outreach integration, and internal capacity building. Following the solicitation, the district received 6 proposals from interested consultants. To ensure a thorough and representative evaluation of these proposals, do we have any volunteers from the board of directors and the advisory committee in participating on the evaluation committee?
I can volunteer to be on that.
I'm willing to be on that committee.
Harper and Tara, thank you.
I'm not sure for that.
Are there any advisory committee members interested in evaluating strategic planning consultant proposals? Okay, thank you very much. And Tara and Harper, I will prepare those packets for you. Thank you.
Are you ready to move to the business? All right, okay. I will move us to item 8A of new business, which is adopting and appropriating our budget for fiscal year 2026 to 2027 board. Could I please get a motion before we move into the session?
Also move.
We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution 2026-4 to adopt and appropriate the FY 2026 to 2027 budget.
So I
Discussion.
heard the motion was VC, and who was the second?
The motion was made by Director VC and the second was made by Director Taylor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the question I have, are we providing funding for the transportation people to Powers? Have we gone to Powers to solicit assistance from either the school board, the city, or the housing authority, so they know that if we drop the bus run, they'd have to run from Powers to move on?
So, at this time, with the current funds, Powers is not built into the budget. However, I am writing a grant with the Oregon Health Authority, which would, it is specifically geared to increasing access for those to health and wellness services in Frontier. So I would describe Powers as a perfect target population for that grant. And that grant, should we be awarded, is effective July 1.
In the event we don't get the grant, does that mean we will not be providing Powers transportation?
In the event we don't get the grant, then it is my recommendation we continue to pursue a volunteer driver.
I think we need to take money out of contingency to pay for a driver to guarantee that we get the person. As a volunteer of many opportunities, we need to guarantee we have a driver that is qualified that can provide transportation to the people of Powers who are very deserving.
So a volunteer driver would be required to do all of the training that a paid driver would go through.
I think it's too much responsibility that drive up that road. That's my personal opinion. I think it's crazy, but
What would it cost if we took that money out of contingency funds? How much would it cost to have a paid driver?
So, we've talked about this a couple times. Overall, the Powers program is budgeted at 20,000, and the compromise that we could that I feel personally comfortable in recommending is supporting the vehicle and the vehicle maintenance. And from a fiduciary perspective, it is my recommendation that we move forward with a volunteer driver. However, I think we do have a very competitive application for the Oregon Health Authority grant.
I don't see, unfortunately, I don't see how we can fiscally change the budget to accommodate Powers. I want to, but I don't know how we could do it.
the question I've had, how much have we ever had anyone go to Powers, call Powers, and tell them that their busing can be cut? Has anyone personally gone up to Powers and talked to the city manager, the school board, or any of that? I've talked to some of them on the phone. Has anyone else talked to the people in Powers about bus being cut?
I spoke to the library director, but they're struggling. Their city is struggling as much or more than we are financially, and they don't have any extra funds.
Well, I'm talking someone from the CCAT, not any board member, not any volunteer, a paid person who's in CCAT. Have any of them gone up to Powers or communicated with Powers?
No,
Yeah,
quite honestly, staff does not have the capacity to drive up to Powers.
How about, have we had anyone communicate on the phone to Powers?
I've communicated via email.
Doug, I think it goes back to the city of Powers doesn't have the funding either. Like if they had funding, then great, it would be worth engaging in those conversations, but we know that they don't have funding. And they do know as a community that there's not going to be bus service unless this grant comes through.
Okay, I understand all that, but until we phone them and talk to a real person, an email is an easy way to do nothing. I would talk in person on the phone to somebody from up there. I will not vote for this budget if we do not include Powers. I may be the only one to vote the budget down, and I love the budget and I love CCAT, but we need to support the people of Powers.
What was the number of riders we're going to need to be out?
We need more promotion.
You're going to have to repeat the question.
What was the number of riders that we getting from?
The number of riders who ride our bus is 1. One person comes in a week and we return them back to Powers.
Further discussion.
For the budget, what I'd like to see, my suggestion is that we have a priority list of potential reestablished routes. Possibly based on the survey that we did, with help or, we have some passions. I want to see Saturday service come back. I want to see Roseburg come back. I mean, there's a lot we need to come back, right? And I think we could use a priority list that we've all kind of voted on consensus wise. Which one should be the second, third when we do come up with some extra funding, like we're trying to do with our committee of alternative funding for CCAT. And so I think maybe establishing that, then we'll be ready to go when the new funding comes. I don't know how we get that done, but I'm just thinking that priority list would be nice.
It would be nice, but I don't know how necessary it is because, like in this case, the funding that Melissa's looking for is specifically appropriate for Powers, not for Roseburg. So, I mean, I think we have to keep an open mind and realize that depending on who we're targeting with specific funding, like, she might find a grant that is geared towards veterans that wouldn't be appropriate for Powers, even though they're first on our list, but would be very appropriate for Roseburg because of the VA hospital. So I think that would be a bit of a waste of time on the board's part to come up with a priority list when we trust that Melissa is looking for grant opportunities and trying to do everything she can to return service to the level that it was previous to our budget cuts.
Jane is raising.
I'd like to say something. I think that anytime that you can set goals as priority, clear, defined, regardless of, I get that there may be other grants, there may be other things, but just to have very defined priorities route that you want to bring back, I'm being a good thing, not necessarily saying that we could kind of reprioritize, I guess, what I was saying, but I do think that establishing a set of priorities on route to do return.
Jane also has her hand.
One moment. I just want to recap, just in case it was difficult to hear Karen. Karen was voicing that prioritization of services to be funded would be helpful so that as grant opportunities come across the desk, that we can pair them up. Karen, did I?
Yes, that's exactly.
Okay, thank you. And I will request that the meeting room should you want the floor, if you would step closer to where the speaker is, it would facilitate things, and I appreciate it. Jane, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I think the other thing that it would be important for the board to remember on this is that Melissa and her staff are the people that you've hired to figure out the day-to-day nuts and bolts, and you guys are the policymakers. Melissa has told you what the nuts and bolts are, and it doesn't, we don't love it, right? It's not perfect, it's not ideal, but I think it's important to remember what everybody's position is here, and remember that nuts and bolts and boots on the ground stuff is Melissa's job, not the board's.
I agree, 100%. I think Melissa's doing a fabulous job. I just happen to just disagree with the situation. That's all.
And that's sometimes that's just like you got to vote.
The
You
matter
gotta
of
vote your
disagreeing
way,
with
you know.
the situation is fact. It's a, it's where you cut when you cut. And if we're going to do prioritizations, I think part of that has to be a prioritization of what is the next thing that's going to be cut if there are reductions in
Here.
funding.
But also, before we talk about that, maybe we need to finish. We're in the middle of a motion, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're more motion and discussing it.
Okay, good. Just making sure we're still heading towards that goal.
Keep our comments related to the motion. No comments. I think I'll just echo some of the comments that have already been said. I'll say that almost every other transit agency in the state is going through equal or worse situations than we are right now. And I think really, personally, my frustrations have fallen with the state of Oregon and the Federal Transit Administration. And that's where I think we need to be leveraging our community support, because they control our funding, they control how much we get and how often we get it. So we deal with the numbers that they give us in a sense. So.
And I like that we are less controlled by that. I think agencies like Star of Hope, who is dependent on funding from the state, decided to be able to branch out. They opened up, different shops, a Littlewood shop, et cetera. They learned how to access more public funding than through the government. So I really want to stress that I want to see our committee in alternative funding get going, and that we're supported by the board, whatever our suggestions are.
I'll do a last call for comments on resolution 2026-4. Hearing no further comments, Melissa, will you please call the roll on this item?
Director Thompson,
Aye.
Director Vesey,
Nay.
Director Johnson,
Aye.
Director Dovenspike,
Aye.
Director Clausen,
I
Director Nelson,
Aye.
Director Taylor.
Aye.
Motion is passed.
Thank you. Our resolution is adopted. Board, that brings us to item 8B, which is ordinance governing conduct on transit or on district property / transit exclusion. Listen, what do you think?
Certainly. To maintain public transportation services that are orderly, safe, secure, comfortable, and convenient, CCAT issued an ordinance 2-2025 outlining the rules of conduct and transit exclusion a year ago. The ordinance intended to regulate conduct occurring on CCAT vehicles within or upon CCAT facilities and properties and in connection with CCAT provision of public transportation services. A review of the ordinance and recommendations are hereby made by staff to clarify areas that staff or the public found confusing. And the ordinance was provided in the packet, both a track change version as well as changes accepted. And the motion before the board is to whether or not to approve the first reading to be read in title only.
I so move.
Second.
I don't know which one got it first, Melissa.
So I heard VC was the motion, and I heard Tara was the second.
We can do that. Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the first reading be read by title only.
Discussion?
Do we have any discussion on that? Is
Yes,
there-
I do. Thank you. So on the first one, I want to have discussion on the first and the second.
Well, actually, sorry, hold on one second.
We just.
Or Melissa, would it be appropriate to move the discussion within that, or should we wait until we actually are on the move to approve the first reading by title?
So-
Or we have two motions on this. Which would you rather us do discussion in?
So this is about if there is discussion to be had, it is about the pros and cons of reading the title only.
And then our last motion we would be able to have.
Content
Hey,
comes in when you're talking about the
Thank you so much. So is there any discussion to whether we should or should not approve this by title, or have this read by title only? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed say no. Abstentions. The board motion carries. Title is read, ordinance 2-2026 governing conduct on district property / transit exclusion. Now would we turn to the advisory committee for their deliberation first before we bring it back to us? Is what I'm assuming.
The advisory committee doesn't have a quorum, but if there is an advisory committee member who would like to make a comment on the ordinance at this time, they are welcome to I invite them to take the floor at this time to make said comment.
Green none, okay. Then board, I would ask for the last motion.
So I move to approve the first reading in title only, the ordinance governing contract transition exclusion.
Second.
We have a motion and second to approve the first reading in title only of the ordinance governing conduct / transit exclusion. Director Nelson, would you like to ask your question?
So, yes, on both of them, they have the ordinance. It's kind of two ordinances, but I'm all confused. But anyway,
Oh,
let's
five
talk
is-
about both of them.
5 is the first one, and then 6 is the with changes. So tab 5.
Let
is-
me know if I'm not.
You're all right, I will.
So, on, the first one, transit exclusion. At page 3, top of the page, it's number 2. It says that, it's scratched, which seems to me, and it's, excluded on the next one, right? That, elderly and disabled seating, the aisle facing benches at the front of the buses are reserved for the use of disabled and senior passengers. Non-qualifying passengers are requested to vacate such seating upon request of any operator employee. So I'm not sure why that got scratched. It's kind of important to me that there is seating at the front of the bus. Some people I know even personally would have a hard time getting to the back of the bus. And that seems to be what earlier when we talked about 5310 program, their FDA goals are to effective options for adults and individuals with disabilities. Primarily, the reason I joined the board, being a retired case manager for 18 people with disabilities, was to see that they get inability to access our transportation in the best way possible. So that was excluded. I can't remember. I didn't think I heard why, whatever. So I'd like to go into that. And then if that is excluded, there's another place in the that we can talk about if we continue to exclude it. But there's another place in the second one where you rewrote everything where it mentions that there is seating and they shouldn't have troubles with, being able to access that assigned seating. So that's
So this is Melissa. So item number 2 is being proposed to be removed is 2 things. One is we were just going to scratch the aisle facing benches because we don't have aisle facing benches, number 1. And number 2, 30% or more of our riders on fixed route are all seniors and disabled. And so to have just a single bench earmarked for seniors and disabled didn't seem to make sense as a significantly more number of our passengers fall into that category. And so it's easier for administratively in the field, should we encounter, give the drivers and as you'll notice, there is language that, drivers, when they give instruction to the passengers, they are to follow those instructions. So if it was found that it's in the best interest of the client, the driver can ask a rider to vacate a seat to facilitate the transit experience. But to designate a forward bench for in a priority situation when everyone's a priority is problematic.
I would concerned about the rider having to either self-announce that they need a seat when somebody might be sitting in a forward seat. They have to self-announce that as they're through.
Our drivers are very in tune to the ridership, and so they would notice.
But there's also times when you ask a person with disability to accommodate them, and they don't want to be accommodated. So you're having the drivers assume that they need accommodation. Yeah. In fact, maybe they don't want to disclose or that they don't want to actually take advantage of that. I've asked people, can I get this door for you or whatever, and they're almost offended, right? And so this just leaves it up to, and if it took the first third of the bus to ensure that, and then the driver just, can say, well, we don't have that many people on board, go ahead and sit there, that's fine, or whatever. I don't know. I'm not sure that I like leaving it up to our riders to either.
It's leaving it up to our frontline staff who are trained to manage their vehicle and the passenger safety therein.
And I get it, and I appreciate the staff being well trained at that, being able to do that. But they may be making some assumptions that our writers would not prefer.
So Shira, if there's not the benches, and what would your solution be?
Well, this doesn't allow any benches, which means everybody can fill up the front and will. And then the driver has to, be the one that referees this based on all the experience. which could be embarrassing to people who need those front benches that they are being pointed out and displacing other riders that have already sat there. I'm asking that we put back in a certain amount of benches. If we don't have side benches, okay, we revise that. If we don't have enough benches because 30% may need it, I don't think it's that great, but I think we could have a first row or two. I mean, they do this in tour buses, for instance, you know, I mean, they have, you know, they have this assumption, if not an automatic sign that says, don't sit here unless you're disabled, you know? So I just think that we could accommodate more based on, you know, elderly and disabled. That's what we're in part here about, you know, our funding is about, right? So that's my thought on this. And if you want to take it out of here, if that's what we end up doing, then I'm just saying that it's also mentioned in page 5 of the property transit exclusion, part B. On that one, I get to page 5, it's mentioned as being so whenever an older adult, a person with a disability wishes to sit in the priority seating, I assume that's the priority seating we're eliminating, or whenever the operator recognizes the person has a right to sit. So anyway, in that, it seems like it's referring to continuing priority seating. So you may want to revise that too, if that's what that means. That's my understanding anyway.
I have a question. Is there any, like at the housing authority, we have to abide by certain standards? Would there be any, would there be any ADA standards that require us to have designated seating for elderly and disabled?
So our buses are required to accommodate individuals with disabilities, right? And so all of our buses do. And then and again, because the population is so high, we weren't going to designate the first bench.
I'm just curious because I'm kind of new to this, but that would be my only question. Was there any legal reason why we would have to designate that or have signage for it?
Any other comments or discussion?
I don't have any of that off the top of my head, but given the amount of time and effort Melissa and Jennifer put into meeting all of these requirements from the get-go, I don't think that, well, if I had to guess, I would say we're probably still meeting all the requirements we have to meet. I can look into it. But I'm wondering if maybe we can solve Shira's objection with some language that just says something like, if you are able, please prioritize front seating for those with less mobility.
I would agree to
That way
that.
you're not saying who's disabled, who's not. You're just going, hey, you know what? If your disability is that, I don't know, I'm not even going to guess, but if you have an easier time moving around than somebody whose their main thing is their, you know, their lower body, then maybe take a few more steps back. And then
Yeah,
it's
like a sign or something, you mean?
or in the rule, or I'm not sure where you guys want to put it, but instead of taking it out completely, sorry, I'm getting help back here. Just switch the language to, you know, not say leave the front for those who are disabled. Just be like, hey, mobility, if you have better mobility, please leave the front for those who have less mobility available.
It's an excellent compromise.
Yeah, I like the compromise. I wish there would be a sign on the bus that would help individuals make that decision. So, but I do like the compromise.
What do you think about that, Melissa?
Yep, that's doable.
Thank you. That's all I have. It is, isn't it? My man.
There we go. Do we have any other comments or pieces of discussion on this item? Item B? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the first reading in title only of the ordinance governing subject/transit exclusion, say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. The first reading of the ordinance carries. Melissa, that brings us to item C. Go right ahead. Or whomever.
Yep, thank you. And just to put a bow on the ordinance. So we'll have there'll be a hearing on the ordinance at the next meeting and then the second reading. With respect to the maintenance plan, all recipients managing FTA-funded assets are required to implement maintenance plans for these assets. Public transit necessitates significant investments in infrastructure, equipment, and machinery. Ensuring proper maintenance is essential for safeguarding the FTA investment and extending the lifespan of the assets. It is mandatory for all recipients maintaining a documented maintenance plan for FTA-funded assets. These plans should outline a system for regular inspections and preventative maintenance to be conducted at specified intervals. The district last reviewed the vehicle and maintenance plan in February 2025 and now requires updating. Staff have reviewed the maintenance plan and recommend it to be adopted.
Board, how would you like to proceed?
Move to adopt the updated maintenance plan. This is Tara.
This is Tara. I second.
We have a motion from Director Nelson and then a second from Director Johnson or Taylor. Either one, pick your bets. Any further discussion or comments on the maintenance plan? Hearing none, all in favor of adopting the updated maintenance plan, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. The motion carries. Thank you. Board, that moves us to item D, annexation of Curry County into the transportation system. I'll read the background on that one. Curry Public Transit has formally requested that the Coos County Area Transit District, CCAT, consider redistricting to incorporate Curry County, a move that underscores the importance of consolidating transit services for enhancing sustainability and continuity along the Southern Oregon coast. This initiative aims to streamline operations and improve service offerings by returning to a shared governance model reminiscent of the 1980s and 1990s, which aligns more closely with current transit patterns. Established as an independent municipal corporation, CCAT was designed to enhance administrative efficiency in navigating complex grant cycles, and this annexation is in line with its transit master plan to foster better coordination with rural services. By integrating the two areas, the proposal promises to create a critical core of transportation services that meets the needs of the region more efficiently. Do you have anything you'd like to add to that, please?
Yes, so this is really just a first step of many steps that would happen between now and July 1st of 2027. You know, today the vote is really for the board to say yes. You know, we are interested in pursuing this. And as you can see, you know, there are some initial next steps. There's 7, but I mean, this will take all year for all the steps to happen and to define what those steps exactly are. And so it wouldn't actually come into effect until July of 27. Jane.
What are the advantages to the district of doing this?
Yep. So with the COOS hat on, the benefits for COOS is then it requires so much transit activity, right? For then our overhead to be spread. So the more transit activity that we have, the greater opportunity we have to spread our set overhead costs over those activities. And so it helps us gain that critical mass of core services so that we are more stable. I mean, Curry will come with its own funding and you know, COOS won't be able to use Curry money and Curry won't be able to use COOS money.
Next discussion or a motion. Did we already do a motion?
No,
So,
I move to pursue the annexation of Curry County into the Transportation District effective July 1st, 2027.
Tyra seconds that
Here
motion.
we go.
You know, it sounds like it's a big deal. We're acting pretty quickly without, you know,
Yes.
this positives and negatives. But if it do exist out there, I'm not aware of, well, I'm not here for sure. Do we want to delay this and talk about this, or
I don't.
research it a little bit, or Melissa, are you thinking you're on top of it now?
I think, like, from my standpoint, to move to pursue it. And on June 8th, we would have an ordinance proposal for new boundaries. And I'm sure that with that, Melissa would bring us additional pros and cons so that we could continue the conversation. But for now, it's yes, we are interested enough to authorize Melissa to continue the exploration. And then we have other opportunities for further discussion, in my opinion.
if you talk about it, this game, we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
If you don't talk about it, you can't do it. So I agree, we should talk about it, whether I wanna do it or not, it doesn't matter right now.
Yeah.
We just need to close the phone.
Yes.
Other discussion on item D here. We're rating 9, all in favor to pursue the annexation of Curry County into the transportation district effective July 1, 2027. Please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Abstentions. The motion carries. Have some fun items on our next agenda for a long while. All right. Melissa, did you want to talk about any of the tentative next steps, or was that just kind of there for reference?
It's really for reference right now, because Jane and I need to, and Jennifer, thank you, Jennifer, for letting me bring you into our work party. We'll be affirming and augmenting next steps as we find it necessary, as we kind of remove all the layers to the process. Because Curry will also have some initial first steps to do as well.
Well, and their transit system is part of the county, correct?
That is correct.
Yeah.
And just for a little history, so it used to be that Coos and Curry were a single transit district run by South Coast Business. And then insurance became an issue. And so it was cheaper for the counties to insure vehicles. And that's when it split and transit went under the agencies. But as grants and funding became more and more complex, right? That's when Coos said, y'all need to, find your own, board members and manage your own grants because this is too big of a lift. And so that's when Coos voted to spin off transit. And then, and so Curry is now finding themselves in a similar situation.
Thank you for that very much. A little history lesson. Would you
Oh,
like to
and
look into
Jennifer
that?
has her hand up.
Oh, yes, go right ahead. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think that, when House Bill 2017 came into effect with the STIF, the whole part of the idea of that was coordination of services. And so we at ODOT were hoping that there would be more joint ventures between the agencies with the STIF funding. One of the things that we have come to realize is with the addition of these funds, these small counties such as Curry and Coos, and we have Gillum and Sherman and Wheeler, and all of these little tiny counties are struggling to try to manage a transportation district. So being able to move these funds to an established district with a management that has understanding of the requirements, which most of the county folks don't have a clue about the requirements. And so we're having a lot of compliance findings between these small counties. So being able to move it all into one district is going to be beneficial for the state and for the community, as well as we have agencies who are following the requirements and understand what is necessary. And again, the economies of scale, like Melissa was mentioning, and just coordination in general. I think it's going to be better for all residents. So that's just my take.
Thank you. Melissa, would you like to move into the GM report?
Yeah, thank you. First, I'd like to give some updates on grants. Since our last meeting, ODOT awarded us 125,000 in rural veterans healthcare transportation funds. These funds are for January 1, 2026 through June 30, 2027. As you are aware or may recall, that historically, between funding periods, we have a quarter where there's funding gaps. And so we have not, between January 1 and let's say May 1, we have not been actively doing outreach to veterans because we didn't know how long the potential funding gap would be. So we are ecstatic to learn that our contract will be backdated to January 1, 2026 when it arrives. And so it is time for us to pick up that promotion and start marketing to veterans in our county to let them know that for health and wellness rides, their rides are free. And so it's just a matter of doing a one-page application, provide a digital photo for an ID and a copy of their DD 214. And so again, health and wellness in this grant is defined really broadly with groceries, pharmacy, PT, medical appointments, gym, the VA, of course. So we're very excited to start promoting this program again. Any questions? I do have in the meeting room some applications printed. So if anyone wants to take some applications with them, they are welcome to do so.
Those ones that are on the printer.
Yes. Thank you. Any questions on the Rural Veterans Healthcare Transportation Grant?
So can we have people up in Powers utilize that opportunity?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mhm. All right, the next grant I'd like to talk about was the Phase 1 discretionary grant that we turned in. So we turned in The title of this grant was Electrifying Transit, Driving Coos Forward Sustainably. And we asked for 6 Microbird D series electric cutaways. That's what we put in for. That was a request for 2.5 million with a grant match of 627,341. So it was a big one. And at our recent ODOT meeting, I asked, so on phase 1 discretionary, how far, they have so much grant money, what was the proportion of applicants or requested money to actual money? And it was basically for every $1 that ODOT has to award, they got requests for $3. So, you know, we won't be getting 2.5 million, but at least we put it out there on what we could in defining our needs. And then the other piece of information that we received at that meeting was ODOT's not comfortable putting electric vehicles onto the 5339 discretionary funds. Their comfort level is putting electric vehicles onto STIF discretionary funds. So my concern with that is that because we didn't have that information at the time of application, that our requests will be moved down the priority list. I did do a follow-up email up to ODOT, and I said, you know, we didn't have this information when we put in for the application. I just wanted on record that CCAT is flexible if we need to do a mix of traditional gas fuel with our electric buses. We would be willing to reprogram some of those buses. So, and I got an acknowledgement, but that was really all that was said. Any questions on phase 1 discretionary? Oh, it's important to note that these electric buses, these are second generation, so they can go 200 miles on a single charge. So technology continues to impress. Any questions on phase 1 discretionary?
Will be part of what we have in our facility.
You might want to answer again.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat the question?
Okay. Electric charging will be part of the new facility.
Yes, it is.
Okay. And what are we doing in the meantime for electric charging?
We don't have any electric buses right now.
We can't have an electric bus until we have a plan for charging it.
Oh, well, these funds, should we be awarded, are good until 2030. And our facility will be built hopefully by December of 2028.
Yeah, good. Good. All right. By the way, trucks and buses, you know, seems like an area of extreme rapid growth.
Yes. Are there any other questions? Okay, so moving to our next grouping of grants, phase 2 discretionary. The first grant that I'd like to speak with you about is driving inclusivity and accessibility on the Southern Oregon coast. And so I submitted a grant request of $57,600 with a grant match of $14,400. And that is for a signage. It's called Navalens app, and it's on their smartphones. And individuals can access vital information about bus routes and real-time departure times. And I am working with Michael Babcock on our advisory committee. This is to bridge some of the barriers that individuals with sight impairments can use. And I would like to share just a couple quick videos with you today. So give me one moment. And can you confirm for me that you see a big white spot before I hit go?
Yes.
Awesome.
Navulens in public transportation will help those with visual impairments navigate in their environments with ease and use it with the native language they use on their phone. From a very far distance, the user can locate the bus stop they need.
Front, 6,24 meters, stop 9030, square, circular 14, feet.
Once the user scans the tag, they'll be prompted with instructions and the times at which each bus will arrive.
Next arrivals, line circular 4 with destination Plaza Circular 14, imminent. Line RAYO 20 with destination Plaza Circular 14, 1 minute.
And finally, they will know the specific bus they are looking for and even as precise as where the door is.
Rayo 14 bus line with main stops in Plaza Circular, Plaza San Agustin and El Renero. Thank you for trusting Transports de Murcia.
Navulens, the best tool for the autonomy of visually impaired people.
So before I do the second short video clip, did that come across okay, or do I need to do it differently?
No, came across
You can
fine.
hear it clearly.
Awesome. All right. So here we go. We're gonna.
I think it was barely understandable.
Yeah, the voice over is one of those automated
Yes.
AI talking people. So is the volume loud enough?
I think volume was.
Yeah. I think it was good one way for me.
Okay. So let's try one more video, okay?
7 meters away, entrance. Continue straight to Wolverhampton Bus Station entrance. Left for the external entrance to the Travel Information Center. Wolverhampton Bus Station are implementing the Navulens navigation system through the tactile paving. Point the camera phone towards the floor to detect the tactile paving codes in each. 7 meters away, entrance. 33 destinations available. Press the Show Destinations button to see them. Straight ahead for stands A to U. Show Destinations. Braille map for all. 2 meters away, entrance. Go straight to Braille map for all. 4 meters away, intersection. Turn left to Braille map for all. 3 meters. 2 meters. 2 meters away, intersection. Turn left to Braille map for all. 2 meters. 4 meters away, intersection. Turn left to Braille map for all. 2 meters. 3 meters away, intersection. Turn right to Braille map for all. You have reached the Braille tactile paving map. Please elevate your phone to scan Navulens code. 3 meters away, tactile map for all. Turn left to Braille map for all. You have reached the Braille tactile paving map. Deselect destination, Braille map for all. Show destinations. Stand B. 2 meters away, intersection. Go straight to stand B. Go straight to stand B. Seeing 2 codes 4 meters away, intersection. Turn left to stand B. 3 meters. 6 meters away, intersection. Go straight to stand B. 3 meters. 2 meters. Seeing 2 codes 6 meters away, intersection. Go straight to stand B. 3 meters. 2 meters. 6 meters away, information point. Go straight to stand B. Go straight to stand B. 4 meters away, intersection. Go straight to stand B. Go straight to stand B. 5 meters away, stand E. Go straight to stand B. 2 meters. 5 meters away, stand B. Turn right to stand B. You have reached stand B. Please elevate your phone to scan Natalie's code for bus timetable. 4 meters. Stand B, stand and totem. Service 81 to Dudley Bonga buses. 3 meters away, stand B, stand and bus activated door. Service 81 to Dudley Bonga buses, departs in 19 minutes. Service 9 to Bridge North, Arriva Midlands, departs in 29 minutes. Service 81 to Dudley Bonga buses, departs at 10:35.
That was the Frogger game, the hopping.
Yeah. I remember.
I just wanted to share that these colored QR codes then can be picked up by an individual with vision impairment from a very long distance, and helps them guide them to the whether it's the bus stop, the shelter, or the bus itself. It can provide information on real-time arrival, and it can also be used by individuals who do not have English as their native language, because their phone will have their preferred language loaded. It would talk to them so they could scan that colorful QR code, and it would talk to them in their native language. And we have had individuals on our buses that do not speak English. And so this could also be a tool for them as well. Any questions on that Navilens app?
I would defer to Michael Babcock.
Yep, he wrote a letter of support, and we attached his letter of support representing, because he's president of the local chapter of the Oregon Commission for the Blind. And so, we're excited of this opportunity and bringing it to Coos County. The second grant under phase 2 discretionary that we asked for was called Keep the Wheels Turning in Coos. It was for the purposes of stabilizing transportation maintenance and mitigating the impact of raising the fuel pricing, continuing to go up. And so we asked for $102,400 with a match of $25,600. And then the third phase 2 discretionary that we asked was called Transit Mobility Hub Wayfinding and Community Signage. And that was for a 12-foot illuminated pedestal sign for our transit hub. And that was a grant of $80,000 with a match of $20,000. Before I leave this phase 2 discretionary, are there any questions on the stabilizing grant or the signage grant? Was that a question?
Yeah, I think the 12-foot sign was gonna be about what? I can't admit that.
That's announcing, the transit center.
Oh,
That's the one where the for sale sign's wide.
oh, that's what.
It's not, right?
So, yeah. And let's see. I can send out on email kind of a mock-up of what we are looking for. I think I shared it at the last meeting.
You shared that there was gonna be something about
Yeah.
that property
Okay.
or something there. Yeah. I thought they were gonna leave their sign up, but they I mean, the skeleton, the bones of it, you know, and we're gonna put
The
some.
three, I think the three big ones that they were like sitting on are still, right? They're just
Yeah.
their persons.
Yeah, I take that back, that's true.
The next, I did put in to Three Rivers Foundation, request for 40,000 for a Navalens pilot. And we'll hear about that in a couple months. And then I also, so ODOT has requested that we submit our 5310 and 5311 early this year. So I submitted for 5310 rural mobility management. The grant is 228,627 with the match of 57,157. And then our 5310 STBG mobility management part 2 is a grant of 106,690, match 12,211. Purchase services, that is what funds me, your accounting staff, and your HR staff. And that's for 2 years. Again, the grant, 315,000, match is 36,053, and preventative maintenance grant, 120,000, and the match, 13,734. And then I'll be submitting hopefully tonight. By the end of the day, 5311, administration, the grant 307,400, match 35,183. Now, I'll just remind everyone that administration, when it comes to FTA, that is anything that's not basically rubber on the wheels moving on the road. So that's marketing, that is utilities, again, anything that is not directly moving the bus down the road is administration. And then insurance, all of those things are administration. I also asked for operating Florence because that is outside of our county. So I asked for 148,730, match is 116,480. And then we'll need to furnish our new building. So I asked for facilities, 212,058, and match 24,270. And that could include things as well as fixtures, signage, etc. Whatever we need to finish and furnish the interior of our new facilities. As I mentioned earlier, okay, so now I'm going to take a pause. Are there any questions or comments on 5310 or 5311?
No questions in the meeting room.
All right. As I mentioned earlier, Oregon Health Authority, that deadline is May 29th. Our primary target population is individuals aging in place. The secondary target population is chronic disease, those individuals suffering with chronic disease. And then the primary outcome is to improve access to health-related services through transportation. And letters of commitment are required. So I will be sending out some requests for from our partners on some commitment in supporting our application. Any questions on the Oregon Health Authority grant?
No questions.
And then I had a meeting. I put in a preliminary application for a transportation and growth management planning grant. And these grants are for transit agencies to develop long-term vision and policy for existing and future transit services, and being consistent with the state and their transportation goals as well, which is very timely because it could also support us in transitioning Curry into our transit district. And that grant will open May 26th, and grant applications are due August 21. Any questions on the TGM, the Transportation Growth Management Program?
None immediately.
All right, so that concludes grant funding. Just from a staffing update, we had made a letter of offer contingent on going through the medical test, etc. Unfortunately, that didn't work out. And so we are continuing to look for a full-time staff person. And yeah, we continue to have a very tight staff. If we have someone fall ill within the next couple weeks, we will have overtime because everyone is at full capacity.
Well, I just want to thank you, Melissa, for juggling 20-some balls in the air at once or something. So thank you so much for all that you're doing. It's incredible the amount of grants that you're looking after at one time here. So thank you.
You're here.
That's all I've got for my general manager's report. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. I wrote more notes than I wrote in the whole meeting. Just on those, that's great. It's wonderful and amazing. Board, our 10th item on our agenda today is citizen comments on non-agenda items. Do we have anybody here to make a comment on a non-agenda item? Look at my tiny phone screen to see if anybody's. Anybody else like to make a comment? No comments from the crowd? Okay. I'll close the public comment section. Melissa, do you want to talk about our bundle of next meetings?
Certainly. I was curious if we needed to have a meeting on June 15th. Could I get a quorum of the board? And this is just, I'm setting it aside just in case we need one.
For
And for Curry primarily, if we needed to do something for Curry.
okay.
I would be available at our normal meeting time.
Sure.
Yeah.
So that sounded like I could get 4 on that day
Yes.
Yeah.
if I needed it. Thank you. Our next regular board and advisory committee meeting will be June 8th, 9 a.m. And then we'll have that tentative June 15, which we may or may not need. And then I know ODOT is working on hosting an effective transit board training on June 16 and 17. That is a 2-day, 9 a.m. to noon opportunity. And those who are interested, reach out to me, and I will make sure when the registration materials become available that you get the link.
Is that like 3 hours of like Zoom meetings each day, or is it like at a location that we would go to?
It is a Zoom meeting. And Jennifer, did you have anything to add?
No, just that's it's going to be offered by RLS. The individual that owns RLS is actually conducting the training. She's been in the transit field for 37 years and does these on a national level. So we were really lucky to be able to get her.
Question, is that possible to be recorded so I could watch it on a weekend or something?
My understanding is, yes, we are going to record those, so you should be able to watch those after the fact.
If you'll let us know when that is available, I appreciate it.
And Jennifer, do they have to register to have access to the recording?
I don't believe so, because I think that we are going to be recording them as ODOT, and so Tyler, our training coordinator, should have access to that.
Wonderful. Okay. Thank you, everybody, so much for being here. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, all the staff. Thank you, board members. Thank you, our advisory committee, for all of the work. I will adjourn this meeting officially at 10:30 a.m.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, thanks.